The Stogie Geek Show, episode 108.
Wow. That guy, this is not a union shop.
Oh boy, welcome everyone to this edition of The Stogie Geek Show, broadcasting live from the grotto, where it's already been an interesting night here on Stogie Geeks. We haven't even started drinking yet.
And we're looking it off the table.
We lit up our cigars. There's people wandering around all over the place. But Stogie Santa is here to my right. Welcome, Stogie Santa.
Good evening, everybody.
On the lines via Skype, we've got Will Cooper. Welcome. Will, who was gracious enough to host the show in his own home in what is dubbed as the Grotto, which we've talked about on the show before. Paul, thank you very much for putting up with our antics and hosting us tonight.
You're very welcome. We're only running an hour late. We're doing great.
That's great. That's great. The beauty of that was it wasn't – that's right. We're only 15 minutes late, and that really wasn't even due to equipment problems, which is amazing. I don't want to jinx it, though, so we're going to stop talking about that and move on.
Absolutely.
Mark Jr.'s making cocktails over there.
Yeah.
He's shaking some drinks. You can't see him. He's off camera right now, but we'll get him back on
camera.
Look
at that wrist action.
He looks like he's done that before.
Plenty of experience there.
Choke that thing.
All righty. Well, tonight, of course, we're smoking the J Grotto anniversary in honor of our location shoot tonight. We'll hear more about that in the next segment. Again, we're in the place where the J Grotto was named. So it's very nice. Patio area is a nice pool. We're all going to go skinny dipping after the show. It's going to be fabulous. We'll make sure the cameras are off for that.
I'm going to make everybody cry.
Oh boy!
So now we're smoking different sizes, and we'll go through that in the next segment. So and we'll let Paul tell us more about the cigar, go into the band a little more, and. Yeah, it's gonna be good. So stay tuned for that. We've also got Stogies of the Week this week as well. But first, I want to introduce our special guest for this evening, Rafael Nodal. Rafael, welcome.
Yeah, but wait till you hear our accent, and we live in America.
At least I have an excuse, right?
That's it.
So, Rafael, how did you get started in the cigar industry?
Well, funny you mentioned that, and that's why I mentioned Hank is responsible for that. Hank and I used to be on the healthcare industry, and one day, when I met Hank, he loved everything about Cuba culture, everything, the music, the women also, I guess, everything. And he told me one day, Ralph, why don't you come?
Keep it at the music. My wife might be watching at home.
The wife was, yeah. I'm sorry. No, he didn't look at any other woman.
It was a friend.
Sorry. I got you in trouble now.
Threw me under the bus.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
So anyway, he liked the Cuban music and cigars. And Hank asked me, hey, let's go and meet this guy that reminds me of you. And so we went, and I met Nick Perdomo. And we had lunch with Nick that day and his brother-in-law, and met his family. And that was my first introduction to the cigar. I smoked my first cigars there. I bought my first box of cigars. And Nick was such a charismatic guy, and that Hank and I got into the cigar business, and I started selling cigars on the internet back on was around 1999.
Very cool. Very cool.
So that was our first introduction there.
So can you describe for us a little bit about the day that you've got the #2 cigar of the year? Did you get a call? Did you find out in advance? Did you do a happy dance? Was that interpretive dance? Was that regular?
We found
dance?
out like everybody else, sitting in front of a computer, hitting the refresh button.
Yeah, nice.
Except I was so nervous. I didn't come to work that morning. I actually, it's funny because the day before they had announced the 10, the 9, things like that, right? And up to the second, so a couple of days. And that day, it was up to number 2. And then the following day, they go into 11 or something. And I was so nervous because we didn't get a number 10, the number 9, and I was not very secure about ourselves. I was secure about the cigar, but I was very nervous. So I went to visit my mom, as I normally do when I'm nervous, and uh, disconnected the phone, turned off the phone, and about half an hour after I knew they were going to announce this, I turn on the phone and I see phone call from Hank. My kids are next to Pere Carrillo, all the people in the cigar industry, Alan Rubin, and they say, "Oh wow, this is something here." And so I turned on the phone, and sure enough, we were number 2, and that was very special. But then the following day, number 1 came out, and was Cuban cigars. So
Yeah.
that was also very special, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Now you've got a lot of boutique blends, as it were, in your portfolio, aging room, swag, as well as others. And one of the difficult things I deal with my job is differentiating between your products, right? So how do you differentiate between the different brands in your portfolio?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the best things we done, if you try, and we were just talking off the air before the program started with Will, he tried yesterday one of our cigars that he received at the show. And one of the things we have been very lucky to do is every single blend that we have done, they're nothing like the other one. They're very different. And that is a difficult thing. And what the actual object of our company is pretty much like a lab. And what we do is create a small blends. And we tried that for a long time. And Will knows about products from when we were doing the King Habano, the LTD, and some of the others. We always tried this. We were not very successful at times because there's a lot of things that go into making cigars that we were not aware. We thought, hey, we'll make a good cigar, but consistency, the marketing, the packaging, and making sure you have a good product consistently and every single cigar that you smoke. And so that's what we do. It's like a small lab where we create blends. So it's creation, and our challenge and our business model is continuously creating new blends. And that's why we were just talking about that off the air with Hank, and we had different opinions when we came with number 2 this year for the show. What are we going to do? We're going to continue showing the number 2 cigar, the Aging Room Cuatro Concerto, and or we come up with something new. And so we sit down and blends that we already have worked on, and we decided, well, maybe one blend, maybe 2, maybe 3, but we actually created this year. We introduced 4 blends at the IPCPR show, and that's the Aging Room M20, which is a continuation of the Aging Room M21 that we introduced last year. One that is unbelievable, the Aging Room Big Number 1, and that's the one that we'll try. And I'll tell you, it has some of the oldest tobacco in the market today, and that's the one I'm smoking today. I'm smoking the big one, which is 63 ring size. And going about that, it's amazing. I remember when we were started smoking, we will have never smoked a 60 ring size, right?
No, they didn't exist.
They didn't exist. And maybe I remember Puros Indios has like a big chief or something. It was
Chief.
amazing. The chief, right?
Yeah, that thing was
Chief.
like the size of my leg.
Right. I don't know if you guys remember that cigar.
Yes.
It was huge.
18,
So I
18 by
didn't smoke
60.
those big ring size, and now I'm smoking a 63 ring size. That tells you a little bit of where the industry has gone and the different things that we're doing. And we also introduced the La Boheme,
Mm-hmm.
La Boheme,
Wait,
and
sorry,
Swag
Rafael.
Black.
Rafael, if you could go back to the aging room bin number 1, which says what you're smoking now, what's the blend on that cigar, and what's the flavor and strength profile?
This is a very full-bodied cigar. Probably one of the stronger blends that we've come out with. It starts out real strong, to my palate, it kind of backs off the strength a little bit, about halfway through. It's still full bodied, but it does back off, I think, just a little bit, and you get some different flavors. Very complex cigar. It's all Dominican tobacco. We've got an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. Really just a fantastic flavor profile. And the age on these tobaccos, they're so well aged that it's a fullness, but there's a smoothness to it as well. There's no harshness or bitterness to it. There's no burn in the back of your throat, but it packs a punch.
And this goes back also, guys. This when we created this blend, this goes back to that day that we got the number 2, because when Hank and I started working with Hochi, and by the way, Hank was the one that asked me, hey, why don't we look at Dominican more? We were working on Nicaragua blends for a while. We had the King Habano, all the Nicaraguan blend. And I wanted to continue working with the stronger, more complex blends. And I didn't think, basically, that Dominican tobacco was good for that. And Hank kept insisting, let's go. And he introduced me to Hochi. With Hochi, actually, we knew him for a while, and but when we went to visit that first time his factory and his tobacco facilities, there's an area called Bean, or Area Number 1, and he has this tobacco, and he didn't allow us to touch it. No. And we started working, and we have been working for many years. And we always, like a kid, that you tell them you cannot have this, and of course that's what you want. And we kept passing every single trip.
I'm still
yeah.
And then one night you snuck in late at night, and no, that's not.
No, that's a different story. But yeah. We have no clothes at the time, but that's okay. So that day that we received the number 2, and one of the calls that I got was from Hochi, and we were just talking and celebrating over the phone. And Hochi says, and Hochi is actually maybe older than me by a couple of years, or younger actually. And he said, kids, let's I think we're ready. And we're ready for what? He said, I think we're ready for this tobacco. So that number 2, the day that we were referring to, is when he said, let's work this. And of course, 2 days later, we were in the plane going to Dominican. I started working in this amazing blend. And like Hank has, what happened is Hochi had this great tobacco from, it's funny because everything goes on road, it goes around, and this is tobacco from 97, 98, and 99, when he started growing some of the first tests of Cuban seed tobacco. And he has separated these ones, and which is the beginning one, and that's what we blended this tobacco. So it's all filler from 97, 99 tobacco. My pictures today from right that I was posting on Facebook, some pictures from Africa, and I was half the man I am today. My belly was half. I don't know about you guys at 99, but it's a long time. That's a long time to have some tobacco.
Rafael and Hank, tell me about the aging room Fortissimo M20. How does that differ from some of the other aging room blends?
Okay, Hank is going to get, actually, the box, we have it next to you, funny you ask, we have it here next to us. This is, last year, we introduced, as part of the small blends that we're doing, last year we introduced the M21. And this is a red box. This has an unbelievable shape. These cigars, let's move it here, it's box pressed. And
nice.
It's like a little Hemingway, 47 ring size, and 5 3/4. And last year we introduced, as I mentioned, the M21, which was all tobacco aged over 13 years. And then obviously we didn't have enough of the wrapper and enough of the filler, so it was a small production of 30,000 cigars. So we introduced this year, this particular one, the M20, has tobacco from about 13 to 14 years old, and has a wrapper, a Mexican San Andres, well aged. I mean, these have been in Hochi's aging room for about 6 to 7 years, and it's an unbelievable, well balanced cigar strength, but but it's so aged, right, Hank? That the strength will not kill you, and you get a lot of flavor. We are trying to do is create things with flavor. I love to eat and I love to drink, as a matter of fact, and this is comes to you from Roms from Venezuela,
Nice.
and this I love to get flavors on it, and we love full body cigar, but frankly, I was tired sometimes that I try some other. And let me tell you, we smoke cigars, not only our cigar, but we smoke cigar. We received today a little pack from Padron. This is their 50th anniversary edition, a little box, and they just sent it today to our offices. And Hank and I were like little kids. We really enjoyed not only our cigar, but all the cigar. But I was really was not happy with some of the strength on the cigars in the market, because some people wanted a very heavy, very strong cigar, but sometimes all you have was the body of the cigar, and you didn't get a lot of flavor. So
Hmm.
that's why all of our cigars, one thing that we look for is a lot of flavor.
I mean, I think our whole philosophy meshes perfectly with Hochi. Our priority and his as well is really blending for the flavor of a cigar first. Strength is an important component, but it's more secondary to the flavor. The flavor has to be there. So whether you're talking about our aging room Haval, which is not a small batch, that's on the milder side. We call it a mild plus. You're going to get a fantastic flavor all the way up to something like the bin number one, which is more full bodied, but the flavor is still paramount.
Tell me about the La Boheme. Is that how I say that?
La Boheme. La Boheme. That's actually a French word, but it's La Bohemian. And it's, I'd say that's another of our releases this year that we're so proud of it. I have, well, some other love in life, but three main love in my life are music, which as you guys might know, I'm a musician. This is the box of La Boheme. And the other love that I have is Cuba. I came from Cuba when I was 15 in a boat, and so I really like everything about Cuba. Unfortunately, except the communists, but everything else we love. And then and cigars. So in La Boheme, we were able to basically put together my three love: Cuba, cigars, and music. And La Boheme it comes from an opera, a Puccini opera, a very famous opera called for La Boheme. And one of the characters on the opera is a musician that is really have no money and used to work in the cigar industry, I guess selling cigars or something. So we call this La Boheme, and we use an unbelievable old Cuban art, which is from the 1800s. And our art department did a fantastic job on that, reviving this Cuban art. And so we mix together, but then we have it has to be a good cigar. So we blended an unbelievable amount of very well aged tobacco, and it's funny because when we were working on the blend and we blended and we worked in different blends for this, and we come to Miami, Hochi obviously stays in Dominican, and Hochi, unbeknown to me, when he tried the blend the following few days after being on the humidor for a little bit, he said the same thing Hank and I said when we smoked that cigar. Because when we describe the blends, we have different words, and what we said, Hank and I said, this blend is just perfect. And that's what Hoshi had said when in Dominica, unbeknown to us, when he tried that blend a few days after. So it is what I believe brings the unbelievable flavor of the old Cuban style cigars, the golden era of Cuban cigar, and that's what I believe this cigar does. So again, those have been three unbelievable releases that we have introduced this year.
Rafael, is La Boheme a small batch, or is that going to be a regular production?
No, that's going to be a small, what we call a small control production. So we have the small batches. We know specifically how many cigars we're going to be able to do based on the tobacco available. So this is a small control production because we don't have the actual number yet of what we can do. And so this is again, control a small production, not as a small batch as the other, where we basically know when we start more or less how many cigars we're going to make. The only difference is when we start with a small batch is that depending on the sizes that sells the most, we can make. So, for example, in the Quattro, the one that got that unbelievable rating was the Concerto, which is a Churchill size. So obviously that's the one that has sold the most, and it takes more tobacco. So we made less cigars compared to the M356 that originally we thought we were going to make less cigar, but the great rating, we got it in a small, what at the time it was called Presto, a small size, and that did very well and sold the most. So the 60 ring size didn't sell as well as the small 48, and obviously we made a lot more cigars.
Excellent.
Have you?
The note is that the La Boheme is not under the aging room banner, and it's not under swag. This is sort of its own line unto itself now. So that'll be three. We have the aging rooms, we have La Boheme, and we have swag.
So the plan would be maybe down the road, you're thinking of other La Bohemes that would be in there? Is that kind of the growness?
Oh,
exactly.
No, absolutely. We already have the design. We already know, Will, one of the interesting things that we have done and we have learned with this, when we started aging room N356 by mistake, because that was the original swag blend, but it was very small and we had to make it into a small batch. But then we got the Quattro. We know exactly what's going to come next, and we're designing a product from the blending process to the design of the actual cigars on the boxes and labels. We know what is next. So we have some unbelievable blends coming up. And I don't know if you remember, we did last year a wild pack introduction. We had a small 5 different blends, 2 cigars of each one for people to help us. And one of those was selected, and that's going to be introduced as well. So we have an unbelievable new blends coming up.
With all of or many of your blends,
working with Ochi, and days are spent there, we spend the blending and coming up with things that perhaps are not going to be in the market for the next 5 or 6 years. But we're working unbelievable to have that amount of small batches coming in.
Rafael, heck, with many of your blends in aging room being the small batch, are there any ones that you've already said we're all out of this one and we're not going to do them again, or are there any ones kind of running towards their end of the line?
Well, I think the whole concept behind the small batch gives us a lot of flexibility. So I think one of the things that before we were really in the business, I know for myself, one of the things that was frustrating is you find a cigar that you really get hooked on, and that's your go-to cigar. And then one day you'll buy one of those, and it's changed. It's different.
Yeah.
The packaging is the same. The band is the same. They tell you the cigar is the same, but you know it's not the same. Something's changed. So the small batch idea allows us to be able to tell the consumer, tell the retailer, and tell the consumer that if we put our blend designation like the M356 on a cigar, that's going to be the same blend for as long as you see that blend designation. When we're out of that tobacco, the blend designation is going to change. So right now, we're right on the cusp, actually, of eliminating the M356 because one of the filler blends in that was the limiting factor. It's what made it, by necessity, a small batch release. But what we did, because it's a fantastic cigar, continues to sell very well, we had to make a change in the blend because of that leaf being gone. But we took a similar leaf from the next year's harvest. So it's as close as you can get to that original M356 blend, but it is different. So what we're doing is we're still calling it the M356, and we put 2 little I's, so it's M356 second version.
And basically it's vintage, like the wines and things like that. And unfortunately, the Quattro as well is going to end probably at the beginning of next year or middle of next year. That is limited as well. And it is funny because if we are very successful, the blends will end very fast. And it is like my wife. My wife is a psychiatrist, and she says if she does a good job, she loses the patient. Not that it will die or kill themselves, but if it's a good job, it will get cured, and she loses the patient. So if we do a great job, then the blend finishes, and that's what is happening right now. The M356, we started already on the number 2, and some of this already starting going to the streets, and also the Quattro will finish sometimes at the beginning of the year.
So you just said the M356 twos are starting to make their way out already.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh.
We actually had a testing in New York City. Must have been a couple of months ago of that cigar, and it was at the Carnegie Club, and that was an amazing reception. Unfortunately, we didn't have the label, and we have to label with M356, but we had to put a number 2 with a little pen in every cigar. We didn't have those there, but it's a fantastic, and that's already. So what we're doing, if you order, for example, just like you order wine, and Paul appreciates that, if you order wine, the same thing. You order the M356, and we still have some of the sizes on the M356 original one. That's what you get. If we already have those on the M356 too, that's what you get.
Okay, excellent.
It's as close as you can get to that original blend, but we're letting everybody know up front it is not the exact same blend.
Yeah, it's a different vintage.
I think that's great that you're doing that.
Absolutely.
I think that's really good. Yeah.
So tell us
a concept that has never been done, or to this extent, I think. Some companies have small amounts of small batches, but our whole company is basically based on small batches at this point.
Tell us a little bit about the Swag Black.
Oh wow, that's another. I'll tell you, this year we were so nervous because we have so many releases, and some are good friends, and we have created. I tell you, one of the things about this industry, we have created so many great friends for so many times. I remember meeting Will. Maybe 10 years ago, 7 years ago, Will?
It probably about 6 or 7 when I first moved to Charlotte.
Right. So, okay,
Yep.
So it was when you moved to Charlotte, we had that event planned, and we had something special for the members. And we, some of the people came to the booth and said, "You have four new releases," and the black, but every single one that have tried that cigar, that Swag line was our first original. The Swag Puro Dominicano, our first release outside the Oliveros, and this Swag Black is a continuation of that. It's a very full body cigar. All tobacco aged over 9 years, and it has a tremendous amount of flavor and strength and aroma. The 4 sizes only, the 48, 50, 52, 54, and 60 ring sizes. So we were back to basic. We cannot make so many sizes, but I tell you, it's an amazing full body character. And this is exactly what we said from the beginning. This is not your father's old Dominican cigar. Dominican cigar, when I started, was known for a lot of flavor and aroma, but never for a strength. For a strength, we went to Nicaragua and Central America. And what we're able to do is put together, get the best thing out of the Dominican tobacco, the aroma and the flavor, and get the strength and the character that it was missing, I think. And that's what we have been successful. So the Swag Black is also another special and complete our 4 releases for this year, which is our amazing accomplishment on itself.
Will, you had some questions about the Aging Room Wild Pack.
Yeah, I think Rafael mentioned. Yeah, so you mentioned that probably next year we're going to see what is going to be the selected blend from the Wild Pack, correct?
Right.
So you're still collecting data on that right now?
We're still collecting. Most of the data has already been in because we only release X amount of packs. And we have some left that we still use in some events, and people give us the feedback. And it has been consistency in one. So we have the number 1, a very close to number 2 as well. And that we released that to substitute the Quattro, because the Quattro, we had a very limited wrapper on that. I don't know if you know the story. When we got that wrapper was in Germany. Our German distributor also is a machine-made cigars maker, and because of the economy was very bad in Europe, we make some of their cigars in Dominican machine-made, but they were not using this wrapper. And as soon as I went there and I saw this wrapper, I said, this is what we want. And they told me, if you want to buy the whole thing, I give it to you, pay when you can, And we said, no, I've been told that before, and then the people call you, and where's the money? So we said, wait a minute, we only got what we could pay, was approximately half of that. But then in December, right before, and unbelievable, right before, so everything has aligned this year, so all the stars. Right before we got the blend, that distributor said, finally decided to sell us the other at a premium price because that cigar has been doing it outstanding, and now he knew what he has, and but we bought it, and that extended the Quattro. Otherwise, the Quattro will have been just done this year already. So we expanded, and that is going to be our next release. The first number one is going to be released for the Quattro line, and the second line that probably is going to be the next La Boheme.
I'm sorry, we're laughing because our production staff is like laughing hysterically. It's some inside joke going on behind the cameras over there.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at my accent.
No, I didn't want to think we were laughing at you. I looked over at them and they were laughing. We have a good time here on the show.
He's laughing at you, Rafael. Don't listen to him. He's very rude. Very rude.
Actually, I don't think the people here in the grotto can hear Rafael. We didn't bring speakers for that, but we can hear you, and the information's great. So.
No, I'm glad you guys having fun. This is what it's all about. I have to say, cigars, good friendship, good company. In my case, drinks.
Good drinks. Yeah, we're drinking out of purple cups, which I think is enhancing the flavor of the drink.
I feel like Michael Sam.
It's purple drank.
Well, you had some questions along the lines of changing from Dominican tobacco to Nicaraguan tobacco.
So yeah, Rafael. I've known you a long time, and I kind of grew up with a lot of your blends. And King Habano was always one of my favorite. I always thought it was a fantastic line. You've had some great success going over to the Dominican Republic with Hochi. No doubt about it. Have you ever thought of maybe trying to go back now and tackle some Nicaraguan blends?
We are. And what we are doing, basically bringing the tobacco to Dominican and blend it there, just pretty much like Davidoff this with the Nicaragua.
Yep.
Have you. And, Hochi has been an amazing force, and we want to keep it that way. So our first release with some other tobacco, because remember, Dominican is not very well known for production of wrapper. They just don't have good wrappers. We just don't have good wrappers in Dominican. We have some good ones that we use in our blends, but it's very limited. And so we actually released the Aging Room Maduro, which is a Nicaraguan Maduro wrapper. And that was our first thing. And it took us a while to release that blend, a few years, right? 5 or 6 years. What happened is that Dominican tobacco that we had to blend it with a Nicaraguan took us a while to get the right blend. And so now we have been aging and curing some Nicaraguan tobacco that we have been playing around with different blends. And so, so everyone has been doing Nicaraguan blend. But, we always, it's funny, because just like in real estate, right? When everyone buys, you sell, and when everybody sells, you buy, right?
Right.
So we were, before everyone started with all this Nicaraguan puro type of thing, we were making the Nicaraguan King Habano completely puro from Nicaragua. No Hondurans, no others, no things like that. Then the Oliveros LTD, a project that we did before, had tobacco from 5 different countries at the time, and Hondurans, Nicaragua, Dominican, Costa Rican, and Peruvian. And I hear some of those things today and say, wow, we were ahead of our times. And sometimes ideas are great, but the executions are not necessarily the best ones, and we didn't execute it well. So yes, we do have in our sleeve, if you will, some blends, all Nicaraguan, some blending, and that we're working on, and we're looking for the right time and the right blending to release. But yeah, we're working on it.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's great.
Yeah. And the thing is, in Hochi's place, we can control the production very well, because basically, again, we control the small part of the factory where these cigars are made, and that's been very helpful as well. So yeah, so we are going to do that from the Dominican angle. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, the production team just told me what they were laughing at, and I'm not allowed to repeat that on the air. So.
Well, make it up anyway.
Yeah. So, Rafael and Hank, you've announced recently some mail order exclusive releases. What are those, and can you tell us a little more about them?
Oh, well, Yes, and we are doing several brands for several companies. For example, one that we do with an unbelievable great Dominican medium blend with a nice San Andres wrapper is the 60 that is for best cigar prices, and that's an unbelievable grade. All three different sizes, all in 60 ring sizes, 4.5 inches, 5.5 inches, and 6.5 inches, all in 60 ring size. Uh, we have another one that is about to be released now for JR. It's a JR exclusive. It's called the Ether. Ether is an unbelievable blend, something that we have worked for a while on it, and we're about to release that next month. It's something that is very dear to us because we have worked a lot on that blend as well. Then we have the King Habano. We actually released a new version of the King Habano, Will,
Wow.
that is called Pura Cepa, CEP. Cepa, it means Pura Cepa is really, it means in when you use that in Spanish, that means that you're really from there. Full blooded, full blood, and not rednecks, but full blooded.
Yeah, it sounds way better in Spanish than it does in English.
I know, no. It sounds sexy actually, and
Especially when
and,
you say it, Rafael. Definitely.
this is it just been released from Thompson Cigars, and that is an old Dominican blend, a twist, if you will, in our King Habano, and we introduced a second version of our LTD, also with an old Dominican blend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also Bellatori that we do as well for best cigar prices as well. So we been able to do, and then for Thompson we do some small aging room blends as well with different number, the T112, which is another blend of the aging room, and another swag, which is a swag exclusivo that we make as well for them. Again, as I mentioned, one of the things we're doing lab with different blends, and obviously we're using these blends to get to the consumer different ways.
So, are you doing any exclusive blends for retail brick and mortar shops?
Yeah, well, the aging room started all at brick and mortar only. Now they're available online, but price protected. They want to make sure because it's small production.
Mm-hmm.
So although you do find them online in some retailers, it's such a small production that it doesn't go with the business model of this
Right.
of the online. That is it's in a lot of production. So when we receive these huge orders, we tell them we cannot do it because if we just it's not what we are in the business. So the aging room and the swag is primarily for stores. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what projects do you have in the works? What's coming out next?
Oh wow! Well, it's funny because I was just talking to Cigar Aficionado the other day, and they got to try all of my blends, all of the new blends that we introduced at the show a few months ago, and just this week he said, "Well, what are you working on?" And I said, "Wait a minute, we just released." Well, we're working on the extension of the next Fortissimo for next year as well. We are working on that Nicaragua blend that I mentioned, and so many blends like the Ether, for example, that was it's going to be released. Something that we started working at the beginning of this year, and so we do have some things, but not in terms of the name and not ready to announce yet. But we again, as I mentioned, this is a constant production of small batches. So that's all we do. And another wild pack that we are working for next year release as well.
Oh, that's good.
So there's going to be another sampling of different blends that people will be able to give you feedback on?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And that wild pack, that specific wild pack that we released last year, we started with 20 blends that we selected. Mm-hmm. And then we had people at the factory visiting in different tours. We reduced it to 10, then to 5. Those were the 5. And now we started back again to the drawing board. We started working on these blends. And probably at the beginning of next year, and January is already there, it's going to be reducing again a number of blends that we have and to produce it and for the IPCPR release of Wild Pack number 2.
Oh, great.
Very good.
Rafael and Hank, are you folks both ready to play 5 questions with the Stogie Geeks?
Well, I'm not sure we are, but we will do it anyway.
Excellent. So I'll ask
a little
you.
bit more rum for this. This might need.
Yeah,
You're going to need a little more rum for that.
Yeah,
I agree.
I need another drink.
Need a bit
So-
more medicine. Yeah.
Rafael, I'm going to ask you first, and then Hank, and I'll kind of go back and forth. So, Rafael, I'll start with you. 3 words to describe yourself.
Fat, loud, and I'm really happy.
Hank?
Oof. A minority in Miami.
I wonder why.
I'll leave that alone.
Wow.
Old.
Getting older. Getting older by the day. I have a birthday this month, actually, that I'm anticipating catching a lot of crap over. It's kind of a milestone.
70 already? No.
No, not that milestone.
I finally got someone older than me on the show. Makes me
Gone over.
Well, gone over. But we're very proud of what we've accomplished.
Proud.
Hank, if you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
He has about 5 right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I have
What I
about
have-
5 weapons.
What I have on me, or
Yeah.
Actually, I just bought a Daniel Defense AK AR-15.
Nice. Very
And
cool.
that's, I'm really in love with that gun right now.
Nice. Rafael?
Not that I would kill anyone.
Right. Hypothetically speaking.
No. I will never do that, but if I do, bare hands. I like to see it. Not that I'm
Close and
I like
personal. Yeah.
up close and
my
personal.
hands.
Rafael, if you were to write a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Oh, well. Dreamer.
Hank?
The mistakes I've learned from.
Hank, in the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
The what? On the what? Yeah, I didn't get that again.
It's big in Europe.
Yeah, it's popular in Europe.
First or be grabbed.
Depending with whom.
Yeah, exactly. That's,
Remember, your wife's listening.
That's right.
If you're playing with your wife,
yeah, I would just grab my own ass.
There you go. No, that's the first time for that answer, Hank. Very good. I'm very proud of you.
safe.
Rafael, first or second in the game of
I
Ask
will
Grabby
go
Grabby?
first.
Go first.
I like to do it. Yeah.
Rafael, if you could pick 2 celebrities to be your parents, who would they be?
Holy shit. First of all, one of these, I don't know their name, but it has to be one of these naked pictures that just came out of some celebrities that were
I heard there was naked pictures of celebrities on the
forget
internet.
That might be the best
Underage.
computer hack of all time.
I have to tell you, it has to be one of that blonde one. I forgot her name. but,
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton.
Kate
oh
Upton.
yeah, I would love to be breastfed by that. Yeah.
You can name a cigar after that.
Rafael, you and I we're right there together, brother. We're right. Yeah, I'm there, right there with you.
So her, yeah, her.
You can't really top that, Hank.
Yeah, no, how do you top that? As far as celebrities, I don't know that I'd want any celebrity to be my parent. They're all pretty messed up people.
That Hank, that is also a unique answer to that question, and I totally respect that.
That's
But
showing your age.
I'll tell
Hank.
you one thing though. On a personal level, if I couldn't have my own dad, I would choose Raphael's father to be my father.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's a very
Oh, we lost him for a second there.
and my dad many years ago, and my dad passed away last year, and it was a special guy, and I appreciate that, Hank. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show. It was wonderful having you on the show tonight. Keep making the awesome cigars. I'm a huge fan of the Aging Room. I will continue to buy them and smoke them, and I'm looking forward to what you have just come out with and what you're coming out with next. So,
You've had a great year, guys. This has
Yeah,
been one of the
congratulations.
strongest years. Yeah, thank you.
This has been an unbelievable journey, and hopefully we won't wait another year to be on your show. So hopefully we'll be invited before that.
open
And,
invitation. Come back anytime, guys.
That's
Well,
a
thank-
done deal.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
a lot
guys so much.
for hospitality and having us on board. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it as well.
We'll continue drinking here from Miami.
Excellent. We're right there
Ciao
with you.
for now.
Good night, Paul.
Good night,
Good
guys.
night. Good night.
Hi, guys.
Good
With
night,
that,
Rafael.
we're going to take a short break, come back, and learn a little more about the Grotto, the J. Grotto Anniversary Cigar. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.